Welcome to the final session of the procedures training for the PNDG MD11 training from Angle of Attack. Now, throughout the approaches that we have flown so far, we have maintained that you should, without question, discontinue the approach at minimums if you do not have the runway environment in sight. There are several other reasons why you might want or need to go missed, another aircraft on the runway, or an unstable approach being just a couple. And you'd also do it if ATC asked you to, without question. For this one, though, we will go around at minimums with nothing but cloud out front. We will be flying the Cat 2 ILS approach into runway 05 at Taiwan International Airport. We will jump in, passing through 500 feet, fully stabilized on the approach in landing configuration, all checklists completed, and in dual land mode. The autopilot will remain engaged throughout this procedure. Decision height for the Cat 2 ILS approach is 100 feet AGL. We will take the aircraft down the minimums and execute a missed approach. We will fly it per the missed approach procedure on the chart. Now, the procedure includes a climb on runway heading 053 with a left turn upon passing through 800 feet onto heading 320 degrees until intercepting the Anbu VOR's 270 degree radial and following it to CDM 27 DME to hold at 3,000 feet. There will be no time to simulate ATC communications, so we will assume now that ATC asks us to complete the missed approach procedure per the chart, not exceeding 250 knots. The go-around is a very high workload maneuver, even with auto flight and auto throttle engaged. We can break it down into 5 steps, the catch being that they all need to take place within roughly a 5-second time frame, so pretty intense. First step. Go around. To initiate the go around, push the go around switch on the center thrust lever. This will cause the following actions to happen. The aircraft will leave dual land mode and enter go around mode. Flight directors will pop up and go to go around mode even if selected off. The autopilot will follow these commands. The autopilot flight director will command wings level and maintain current heading. Bank angle will be limited to 10 degrees. Auto throttle system will go to go around limits. Parallel rudder will remain active to control asymmetric thrust in the event of engine failure. Reference speed and pitch appear on the FMA, indicating that the aircraft will pitch to maintain that speed. In short, this gets the party started. Step 2. Set flaps 28. As soon as you see and feel the engine start to spool up, you'll need to set flaps 28. This removes a lot of drag and will help to increase our angle of climb. We want to put as much air between us and the ground in as little distance as possible. Step 3. Rotate. The flight director will command a pitch up as necessary to maintain reference speed. This speed will be Vmin plus 5 for flaps 28, or the indicated airspeed that we had when the go-around button was pushed, whichever is higher. With the autopilot on, the aircraft should pitch up automatically. If it does not, be ready to fly it manually, guys. Step 4. Once a positive rate of climb has been established, pull up the gear. It is vital that you wait until you are sure that you are climbing. You will notice that in the upcoming video that although we initiate the go-around at 100 feet, the radar altimeter actually registers 50 feet at its lowest point. So wait until you have a good few hundred healthy feet per minute of climb before selecting gear up. Step 5. Missed approach altitude. If you haven't already, set missed approach altitude in the FCP altitude window. In our case, that is 3,000 feet, and we have already set it there. Capture of this altitude will automatically cancel the go-around mode. On the flight mode annunciator, pitch will be replaced by thrust, and go-around will be replaced by hold. That's it. Let's jump in and see this in practice. Here we are, just passing through 500 feet on the radar altimeter. Wind is calm, QNH is 1003 set, and minimum set at 100 feet radar altitude. FMS is controlling thrust and dual land is enunciated. Keep an eye on minimums on the altitude tape. Approaching minimums called out 100 above.
Approaching minimum.
Minimum. Press go around, engine spooling up, set flaps 28. When you get a positive rate of climb, gear up, missed approach altitude, and we will set that to 3,000 and verify. Pitch for 171 knots is indicated on the flight mode annunciator. The aircraft will pitch for this, but not exceeding 22 degrees nose up pitch. Once passing through 800 feet, select nav on the FCP and the aircraft will begin its roll to the left onto a heading of 320 as has already started. We have a serious rate of climb and we are spot on reference speed. The engines are at their go around thrust limits and are propelling us swiftly to that 3,000 foot altitude. So once the aircraft approaches the altitude we have set, pitch mode will switch to hold and speed mode will switch to thrust. So there they go. Note that the thrust is indicated in white. This is because it was effectively manually actuated through the selection of go-around mode. So once we reach the commanded altitude, the aircraft will want to accelerate. To allow it to do this, we will need to hand over speed control to the FMS, so select FMS speed on the FCP. Accelerating through flaps retract speed, retract the flaps. Bear in mind that this is a 2 stages up from the flaps 28, rather than the 1 notch you'd be used to from the normal takeoff. Engines are now at climb limit and we are accelerating very rapidly now that we have got rid of the drag from the flaps. As you clear the flaps retract speed, pull those up to clean her up completely. I will now set speed to 250 knots manually for the hold. We are just turning onto the 270 degree radial that will take us to the sedum, or take us to sedum at 27 DME. The aircraft will enter the hold manually and fly it until we use the exit at fixed prompt on the MD flight plan page. We covered the holding procedure in the asymmetrical takeoff and fuel dump episode, so we need not repeat it here. If you take only one thing from this lesson, let it be that safety is your sole priority in times like these. Let it rest in your mind throughout any approach that your plan will be to take the safest course of action no matter what. And in our case, at 100 feet with still no runway in sight, the only sensible and safe thing to do was to do a go-around. So you should always give the same priority to a go-around as you would to a normal landing. You may have heard me say that before. Of course, the preferred outcome will always be to get your wheel safely on the ground in one piece. But don't let your timetable or get there-itis take precedence over safety, ever. So that does it for the procedures. I hope you guys enjoyed them, and now we are going to get to the flights. Until next time, throttle on.